Hello and welcome back to White Lines Football. Lewis again here today, back with the next episode of The Club I Love. And today we are joined by the League One podcasts and Oldham fan, Nathan. How you doing, Nathan? Thanks for coming on.
I'm fine, yeah.
We'll get straight into it. Why are Oldham Athletic your team?
Simple, same as many other people. Lived in Oldham, born in Oldham, so an Oldham fan, really.
Is it a good place to live or is it a bit crap?
Depends what you live over near Saddleworth.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bit more posh over there. Living somewhere like Royton or something, or Chadderton, it's a bit scruffy. So more towards the crap side, yeah.
Not awful then, but a little bit crap.
Not getting stabbed when you walk outside, but not having, private school or anything. So
Yeah, right, got you. How long have you been into football? So how long have you been following football as a whole?
Maybe since I was in year 4. So it would have been 7 years ago, so 8 or 9 maybe, yeah.
Was that when your first Oldham game was?
My first Oldham game was in 2012, on the 28th of January.
Yeah, good memory.
In a game against Chesterfield, the Johnson's Plate Trophy semi-final, Northern final.
Yeah.
Second leg, we were 2-1 down from the previous leg, and in the last minute, we're pushing all game. And I remember there was a guy behind me who was swearing all the time.
Yeah.
And when I went home, my dad told me about this guy swearing, and my mum got dead annoyed. You know what I mean? And their goalkeeper, I think he retired last year. What's his name? I permanently hate him and hate Chesterfield for that, because they went in, Oldham conceded in the last minute, and that was it. The dreams were over of Wembley. It's more annoying now because I didn't understand what it meant at the time. I knew it was a big game, but didn't understand that it was Wembley and stuff like that. If we'd managed to score and then go and win later, but that was my first game. I don't know why I went back. Well, the second why I went back is I got a free ticket. I did a football club at my primary school, year 5 or 6, and they just said, right, here's a free ticket, and it was for a game against Carlisle, the last home game of that season. Same season, 2011-2012. Me and my dad were late because he had to do some errands. And we went in at the bottom of the Chaddy end, couldn't get in through the normal turnstiles. So by chance, there was a steward who just was stood on that door.
How late to the game?
About 30 minutes, I'd say.
Okay, right,
about half an hour. I had a free ticket, so they let me in, and the steward just said, you can go in. So my dad didn't have to pay 20 quid or something.
Decent.
From then, really, that's when it started. More of an interest. Didn't really go to many games. My dad's a Wigan fan, so some people like they go with their dad or their uncle or something. No one else in my family was an Oldham fan.
Yeah.
No one. So if I was born in Bury, I'd be a Bury fan. There's absolutely no other connection apart from being born in.
When you went to that first game, were you aware of sort of who each player was, or were you just there because it's a football game, might as well?
I was aware of players. Yeah. Players like Kieran Lee, Chris Taylor. I think Mvoto. I was a bit later. I'm not too sure. I used to play FIFA, so that's how I knew some of the players were.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'd play on the FIFAs. I wasn't aware of who was very good and stuff. I knew who people were. I didn't know who the manager was. Yeah. So it was only once I started going, probably in 2014-15, maybe to the end of the season before of that, is where I went to games and had more of an understanding in football in general, really. It's a weird one, though, because 2010 is when I first became aware. 2012 was my first game, and 2014 was kind of when I started to take a proper interest in it. So following the games, on stuff like the final score or something, or the Twitter page and stuff, that's when I started caring about individual results rather than hoping to do well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. What's your best ever memory from supporting Oldham?
Oh, that's a tricky one. There haven't been that many good memories, so I would say the FA Cup game against Liverpool or the one against Everton in the next round, but I didn't go to them. Simple fact that we couldn't get tickets. My dad couldn't get up to the ticket office because he's busy with work and stuff, worked overtime. Yeah. And we weren't season ticket holders, so we couldn't get priority, so we couldn't get to the game. It's pretty simple.
Still a massive part of the club's success, though, winning that game against Liverpool.
Yeah, out of actually being there, probably when against Bolton last season.
Yeah?
I'd say.
Yeah.
It was tricky because Bolton, who went up last season, and Fleetwood, who were very good form, they were the next 2 games, and we needed to win them, and we won them both. So I'd say the Bolton one, that's probably the best one. Going back into the Chaddy end as well, because it got moved from there. a couple of seasons before. It was a really good day. It annoyed a couple of Bolton fans. A couple of videos on the internet by some Bolton fans. They were quite funny to see saying they got robbed and stuff like that. But you know, always. They still went up and we stayed up. So
always insane, and everyone wins. Do you have a favourite ever goal that you've seen?
I'd go for Jordan Obita's goal against Everton. Jose Baxter booted it out to Croft. Croft turned, sent Osman into Rose Ed, ran down the wing and crossed it in, and Obita just smashed it in. Well, not smashed it in, tapped it in after making a run, and we were 1-0 up after about 2 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
That was probably the best one.
Especially against the sort of quality of opposition. And
you've
got the good goal and you've also got how much the goal means, sort of thing.
The commentary as well.
Yeah.
As well, the whole moment,
So we'll move on to sort of the present day of Oldham. Recently in League One, they've sort of had many seasons in a row where I think they've come between 15th and just staying up. Does it get boring and repetitive, or do you still have the aspirations?
I mean, it starts off like that every season.
Yeah.
Where you think, is it going to be a good season? But then it always goes wrong, and it has done. Apart from, it was the 2014-15 season where there was actually by Christmas in and around the playoffs. By February was in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Then Lee Johnson went to Barnsley. And it was something like, I think it was 12 points from 17 games.
Yeah.
And ended up finishing 15th. So
back down there. Someone that's been quite vital to maybe your survivals. You mentioned Lee Johnson, how well he did for you, but someone that's probably more done more of a job of keeping you in the league is someone I know you're fond of, John Sheridan. Do you have any particular thoughts towards him that you want to share?
He's a very good manager. The football might not be amazing, but he gets the results.
Yeah.
I think he'll do well at Fleetwood, though.
Yeah.
A bit different to Oldham because he'll have to settle in at Fleetwood compared to Oldham where he's been there for years. And he won't have a transfer window. He won't know the chairman, I'm guessing, so a couple of factors are different. The difference is he's taken over a side who finished 4th last season. Obviously a lot of their players left and were sold, but he's still got a decent squad. He's a good manager, but I think it's one of them where it maybe only works at Oldham. You could say sometimes you get them types of managers, but I think if he does keep Fleetwood up this season, I think it'll be different to what he did with Oldham. I think he will maybe not get in playoffs, but definitely do something decent with them next season. As an outsider, you might look at the run that he went on at the start and think, oh, you were happy for him to be sacked, but I think a lot of fans knew that when he got sacked that he knew he couldn't do it. The first time he left, everyone was angry saying that he was a snake and all that, when in fact they'd look back and go, he didn't think he could do it. He was scared of failing and ruining his legend reputation. Because he had a reputation before. He was manager in 2006 between 2009, and it was playoff pushes every year. In the third season, we're pushing for playoffs, and then there was a bust-up between him and Lee Hughes, and I think a couple of other players. Next week got beat 6-2 by MK Dons, and he got sacked and capitulated and finished 10th. Fans were angry because he was sacked, because he had such a good manager. So I think he was scared of tarnishing his legend, could you say, his reputation.
Yeah.
I think there's also a bit of by then chairman Simon Corney probably pushing him out to Notts County for a bit of money.
Yeah. My next question was, do you think it was right for him to go at the start of the season this year? Because a lot of fans, it might have been different for Oldham fans because they see every single game week in, week out, and they have sort of more knowledge what's going in within the club and more of an idea of what the manager's trying to do, and they have their own faith. But from a lot of outsiders, it definitely looks like you were dead certs to go down. So do you think it was smart for him to go, or do you think it was a bit harsh?
Again, how he left, it gets thrown around a lot, the mutual consent thing.
Yeah.
I think it was actually mutual consent. I don't think he was bothered about money. He got a 125k payoff from Notts County. I don't think he's bothered about money. I think he just was like, I've stayed on, I've tried, it's not worked, it's time for someone else to do it. Obviously what Wellens has done, it's like, yeah, it does look like the good thing, and it was the right thing when you're looking at it now. But from that time, the takeover talks are still early. You're looking at it like, when managers have gone in previous seasons, some rookie managers come in, after time it's not worked out, bar Lee Johnson obviously. The football wasn't bad, there were goals. It wasn't boring 0-0s. He was unlucky in a lot of games. The Fleetwood game, George Edmondson gave away a penalty at the last minute after winning 2-1. The Charlton game at 2-2, Usman Fain got sent off, ended up losing 4-3. Another game that we could have easily won. It wasn't bad. If anything, it was going. I think if he'd got those results, he'd been a bit lucky. He would have stayed on, and I think it could have worked out maybe a decent mid-table finish. I know that might sound a bit strange when you're looking at the table and we're 24 at the time, but I think overall, I don't think that, although Wellens did have a bigger impact short term, I think long term is in terms of this season, I think it would have come out about the same. But I think long term, as in 4 or 5 years, Wellens has a more potential, I'd say.
Yeah. My next question was going to be, what were your initial thoughts on Wellens when he came in? Because it took him a while to get the job permanently, didn't it? And eventually got it. Do you think he could be the man to take you past that 15th and sort of maybe push for the playoffs in the next couple of years, maybe towards the championship?
Again, that's a difficult question. He could be. I'd say definitely get past 15 if he's given resources, if he's given the money to actually kind of get who he wants within reason, obviously, but not get some free agents. Although Simon Corney isn't chairman anymore, he'd give out good money to shares to buy players. But when maybe someone like Steve Robinson came in, he got no money. You can't blame him for that. If he's not got a lot of money, that he's not going to just chuck money at nobody and waste it. But hopefully that Abdallah coming in, and we don't know how much money he's got, we've got no idea really, that he won't be afraid to say to Wellens, right, you've got this much money, go and do what you need to do. And he's proved it, that when he's got the players he wants, that he brings out good results. So hopefully in the summer Wellens can get the players he needs. He's already bought Jack Byrne on a permanent deal. I doubt Keane Bryan, I doubt that. Maybe a loan deal if we're lucky, but I doubt permanent. He'd probably go after a championship club, I'd say. Doyle, if he's enjoying his football, there's absolutely no reason why he won't sign permanently. If he's given the money, wages will only be a problem, I'd say. But if he's willing to take a bit of a wage cut, step down to League One, again, I don't see why he wouldn't join. I think it's about breaking bad habits. The fact that every season it's become that cycle of bottom 4 just survive, bottom 4 just survive, and the cycle of since 2009-10 not finishing above 15th but not getting relegated, getting between 50 and 54 points. I saw someone tweet. That's boring, incredibly boring. Yeah. So we'll see. I think how he performs in the last 12 games, I think is it 12? 12 games of a season. If we're safe with a couple of games to go, that'll say to Abdallah, right, it's not fluke, it's not a honeymoon period. He's got the players who he wants, and right, we'll go and try and sign Doyle or sign whoever. I think that the next 12 games will be a key factor in what type of the funds that Wellens gets. But we'll see.
So sort of merging two questions into one there. Obviously, we don't want to get too carried away because you're still in a relegation fight at the minute. Do you think you will stay up, and how important is Owen Doyle to the Oldham team altogether?
It's incredibly important. But again, a lot of people will say Owen Doyle, one-man team for Oldham, but he's not a player who will pick up the ball and just dart past 5 players and score. It's about the system built around him.
Yeah.
You saw at Portsmouth last year, he got 2 goals in 12 games in League 2. He comes to Oldham, a harder division, and scores a lot more. It's about the system you play, really, I'd say. If you get the balls to him, from your wingers, from whatever, and get the ball to him, he's going to score. If you don't give him the ball, he's not going to score. Someone like Messi or Ronaldo, not comparing Owen Doyle to Messi or Ronaldo, but someone like them, you can give them the ball and they do their magic. But you don't get that at League One. You don't really get them players who are magic. So it's really about the system and the team. But even when Doyle's been injured, someone like Duckens Nazon, he played against Blackburn, scored 2 goals. He played a game before that and he's played the 2 since. If you play this correct system for a player like Owen Doyle, then he's going to score goals. If you play the wrong system, then it's not going to work. A Portsmouth fan told me that last season Paul Cook, the manager there, wasn't using Doyle as the striker, as in to score the goals, using him to assist the other players.
Yeah.
So he created lots of other chances. So again, it's about the system, and Rochdale fans and stuff, I've had a lot of them have a go at me on Twitter saying, Owen Doyle, one-man team. It's not, it's about the team around him that makes the chances for him.
So do you think he's playing in the right system now and that will lead to you staying up? Because obviously he's back fit again.
Even if he wasn't fit, we'd still have a decent chance. I'd say, I think it's not almost certain, but the squad that Oldham have got now, and looking at the table, there's no reason why we won't stay up. I'd say there's maybe even an outside chance that we might finish above 15th.
Yeah, it's
an outside
tight,
chance. I think a lot of people are watching now thinking he's going to say playoffs. No, 15th. If we get above 15th, I'll be like, whoa. It's like nosebleed territory.
I don't think many sort of football fans are looking at League One thinking Oldham are dead set to go down, which might have been different at the start of the season.
Lot maybe not someone like you who knows a bit about it, but maybe looking at someone who, like maybe someone on Sky Sports is looking at it. Going, Oldham are going to go down. Yeah. Maybe not now looking at the table, but the Oldham have, and many other teams have games in hand on Doncaster. If they win them games, they go above them, and it all completely changes. There are teams that are much weaker than Oldham's. You've got Rochdale and Bury, and you've got MK. Then I have to say that M3 almost certain to go down, even with Rochdale's games in hand. It's going to be Tuesday, Saturday. I don't think they've got the squad for that. You've then got Fleetwood Town. Again, they've got Sheridan. Will he be able to keep him up? I think he will, but it's going to be tough. Then you've got Northampton, Town and Wimbledon. You only need one of them to be worse than Oldham. And you've got Oxford again. They were 10th when they sacked, Pep Clotet?
Yeah.
Cloet, I don't know. Now they're in 16th. The squad is much stronger compared to previous seasons. So I don't think there's any worry about Oldham going down.
Okay, that's fair enough. You mentioned the ownership sort of changes earlier. What are your thoughts on the change of ownership?
It's hard to say because we don't know much about him. Mm-hmm. We know he's called Abdallah Lemzagam. He's a Dubai-based Moroccan businessman who used to be an agent. Mm. Now, the fact is, he's got some good contacts. He brought in Johnny Placide, Javaro, Nepomukino and Wilfred Mombe. Them three have been decent. He's also brought in some... Well, I say he's brought in, I mean, he's used his contacts. Yeah. If he uses his contacts to say, right, we've got this player within our budget, do you want to have a look at him? I don't see why it's a bad thing. Even if he's got just as much money as Simon Carney and he puts in the same budget, the contacts are going to be worth a lot. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what you mean. You might get an import from the French league. It might be awful. You might get a really good one. So, it's a bit of gambling. Yeah. Well, let's hope it turns out for the best. Looking forward to the future. What do you think of the short-term and long-term ambitions for the club? So long-term, maybe next 10 years. Short-term, next 2-3 years. The next 2 or 3 years, I'd say, to build some kind of a fan base in terms of getting people maybe a little bit younger than me buying season tickets. Yeah. To then build some kind of a good fan base to then push on into the Championship. I think next 10 years, I think most clubs, their aim is to get to the Premier League. Yeah. Some teams do it in 3 years. I'd say the Championship's a realistic goal. The Premier League, who knows? It's changing with the money. Yeah. Who knows what could happen. But it's really difficult to say where clubs will be in 10 years. And I think a lot of chairmen might put out saying, they've got their 5-year plan. Yeah. And stuff like that. It is difficult, like you say. Some teams can do it really quickly, and some teams they can just stay where they are. What do you want to see? Well, you said it's hard to say in 10 years. Maybe this is your personal ambitions. What do you want to see from Oldham in your lifetime? What are you looking... In my lifetime? In your whole lifetime? Time in the Premier League, I'd say. Yeah. Do you think that's possible? Yeah, I'd say. Mm-hmm. I think it will happen. To the cycle of football will let it happen at some point. I'd love to see maybe a bit of a short-term one. I'd love to see something like a Johnson's Pate Trophy. Yep. Maybe if it gets changed back to the old, style. From the Checker Trade Trophy, yeah. 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 They're thinking about that. There isn't really anything else. Once you get to the Championship, you don't have the JPT. Yeah. So then you've only got the FA Cup and League Cup, but something at Wembley. Yeah. Even like a playoff final, that'd be alright. Yeah. I mean, I'm saying that now. That's after 8 years of 19th to 15th, so I think anything. Yeah, could have another 10 years of that. One final question then for you. Are you Oldham until you die? Of course I am.
Lovely, good stuff. That's what I like to hear. So, thanks for coming on, Nathan. Do appreciate it. Do you have anything you want to shout out? Doing some stuff on Twitter, on the channel?
Not really, because I don't know. It might start next season. League One podcast might start again next season.
Yeah,
that's what I'd say. It's probably done for this season because stuff that's going on. But next season, we'll see.
Yeah, well, we will leave the links in the description anyway if you want to check them out. Of course, our channel partners. If you did enjoy the video, please remember to like, subscribe, comment down below, follow all the stuff in the description, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.